What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Automated, episode number 14. I'm John Levesque, your host as always, and today I am only joined by one of the crew, Pranav. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, John. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I was told that I was supposed to get some snow here in the Pacific Northwest, but it's just a mix of rain and sun. I want the snow. How about you? You getting any snow down in Seattle?
I'm getting sunshine. That's it. And I call for more snow shine, like whatever that is. Like
Snowshine. Nice, nice. Hey, I would take snowshine.
I'll take that any day over snow. But I think you must be missing the powder, right?
Dude, I can't go skiing this year. I wrote it off. Too many people on the mountain still, even with their reservation system. It just doesn't feel right. So yeah, I am missing the snow this year, big time.
You need to have your own mountain then.
Hey, can I rent the mountain to myself, please? All right, Pranav. So, what are you talking about today, my friend?
Where can I use RPA? So we'll be talking about some common use cases where you can apply RPA to, and we also look at some, I would say, light bulb moments to see if these ignite some ideas onto you. So primarily, where can you use RPA is what we'll be covering today.
Right on. That's good to know. I think a lot of people wonder, like, when should I use which tool? Should I use RPA? Should I use an API? Right? What should I use when? So this is good. This is good. Go ahead, man. Take it away.
All right. The key thing over here is, when you think about RPA, like the first lens you want to think about RPA is around business processes, which are back-end processes that are happening in your department. And doesn't matter what industry your company is in. Like these use cases apply to all industries, all companies. Like every company has IT, and all IT folks have problem of account lockout or password reset. So they need to automate these sort of tasks to sort of free up their time and do something else. Like HR is another good example where payroll is very common. And then these use cases could be, bringing in some of the RPA components in case the APIs are not available, or you can use APIs as well to talk to these backend systems like Workday or something. But the key thing is these are common departmental processes where you can use, like in finance around payment reconciliation, sort of doing inventory management and supply chain, using sort of document processing or auditing in legal, doing lead generation. And then in the last row, you think about any operation where you're generating reports, where you're sort of consolidating data from multiple sources or running some report generation tools at the end of the week, at the end of the month. You can use sort of RPA to automate all of these tasks. So that's the core premise of where can you use RPA. It's across all these departmental level processes, no matter what industry you're in. And then once you've thought about these use cases, then you can start layering upon, different industries and use cases or scenarios, which are sort of very industry specific. So, for example, for some of our customers in the financial sector, like how would you do loan application automation or credit card fraud detection, patient management in healthcare, forecasting supplies in manufacturing, demand projection in retail, network management in telecom, like pipeline management in oil and gas. So the whole idea is like once you've, the one lens is you've looked at all your backend processes across your departments, and the other lens is now you've looked at some scenarios which are more common to your industry, and you can use RPA for both these kind of use cases. But the core thing over here to remember is RPA applies fundamentally at the departmental level, where you want to automate your backend process, which you're doing manually today. And so that's sort of the key takeaway we want our listeners to sort of take from this slide. Does that resonate with you, John?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always smart to begin to think about, where do I fit into these buckets, right? So that way you can begin to understand what's the landscape of things that need new process, right? Just because you're in retail doesn't mean that you have a good process for demand projection, right? And so understanding that that's something that's applicable to you, something that you should be focused on, and then something that the tool can help with. I think it's good to start thinking in those silos a little bit.
Yeah, and then we've seen some interesting pattern also where some of the customers started with sort of industry specific use cases, and then they started going into the other direction of departmental level as well, where they were improving their sort of go to market for their product as well in terms of how do they build product, how does engineering happen. So they started automating those kinds of scenarios as well. So I guess once you're on the RPA bandwagon, I would say that anything is possible, I guess, for these users.
Yeah, definitely.
Like
Once
the
you use
key
it in one place, you're going to be like, oh, wait, I have a new idea for that.
exactly, like it's the first one basically. So yeah, this is just to inspire you, like look at different places for inspiration on what you can do with RPA. And so while we looked at a few, very generic sort of examples, like let me talk about a few specific ones from a few of our customers. So this is a webinar we did with Coca-Cola, and these are examples of like they have lots of RPA use cases, but I picked out a few which sort of represent these departmental level processes that you can automate. So compliance management, account unlock, ticket processing, payroll processing. And you'll find like in these cases, like there will be a mix of cloud flows and desktop flows that you'll be using depending on if you have access to those backend systems or not. Like, so it just completely depends on, what your environment and setup. But these are good examples of how would RPA use cases look like across a few different departments here. In this case, it was IT, it was HR, it was legal, who were sort of automating these business processes on their own. The second example I had was around Coca-Cola United. So they are a different company than Coca-Cola, and this is a very interesting story, John. Like I think you might love it. Like if you like, you like these vending machines, John?
I love those vending machines. I miss going to eat places in person, so I can't ever touch one of those vending machines. I really love those things. What was your flavor when you would go touch that machine? What's the crazy thing you would make?
I would do lime and Diet Coke.
Diet Coke lime. Okay, nice. I typically would do an orange 7 Up. And I don't know why, because there's like orange soda, but for some reason the orange in the 7 Up, that was the thing for me.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, and I
Yep.
would just like fill up with ice. Like I just liked it like super cold when I used
Okay.
to mix these drinks. Yeah, I miss them.
I
So
miss it
this
too.
use case, John, is about replacing the cartridges which actually make the drink in the vending machine. So that was the exact use case. Uh, and the challenge this customer had, this is a public case study that our listeners can go to as well. But the challenge that this customer has was they wanted to automate the order generation of cartridges. So John, you wanted to mix what was your orange drink, and you ran out of it, so it's not in the machine, and now somebody has to place an order for it to be replaced. And so before, the process used to be like this, where it was like a 14-step manual process. As the CRM person would get the order, they would enter in Excel manually, then they would create a PO in another system, then they would translate materials and then create the order in some third-party vendor system. Then they would keep refreshing their Outlook for email. Once the invoice would come, then they would actually print out using a printer and actually walk over to the accounts payable department, who would then sort of inspect the invoice, scan it, and then would release the payment to the invoice to the vendor
Oh
itself.
my goodness.
This was the actual process they had, like before they started with RPA, and then RPA sort of comes around and they started exploring this option, and they built up this solution which had multiple components over here. So, for example, they created a cloud flow and a desktop flow that did generation of data into SAP. Then they also built another cloud and a desktop flow which does automation of web applications. They used AI Builder for forms processing. They used our like Outlook connector to sort of make this flow a trigger based flow. And then they didn't have to print out anything because everything was electronic. And then they were able to sort of release the payment to their vendors pretty quickly. And
Thank
then
God.
what they realized, out of this whole automation experience was like, obviously they had these cost savings. They didn't have to hire, 10 full-time FTEs. But the key thing over here was the CRM agent person is now freed up to work on sort of these business critical projects, like which are much more strategically important to the company, and they can contribute to it a lot more better versus like, sitting over here and sort of clicking next, which is maybe not adding too much value. So here, they this company took a bet on RPA as a way to sort of solve all these manual tasks, and they were able to free up the CRM agent person so that they could sort of work on uh, other initiatives inside the company as well. So yeah, this is like a fantastic use case, where I love this first before picture, which is so many steps manually, and I still remember carrying the PDFs myself, like printing it out a few times and like going to different departments and stuff. So
I love this because anytime I see a process that is print paper and walk, I'm just like, oh no. Oh no. That's a disaster waiting to happen.
yeah, and then the beauty of this solution is like once you have this automated solution running in, you can layer up different views over it, and you can always make it a self-service system where no matter if the field service agent is, for example, like Microsoft in a cafeteria, or they're in the store as well, outside, they could just keep sort of placing these orders, which would get processed in an automatic manner. So yeah, this is a pretty cool use case for RPA over here.
Very cool.
And then, like, just to flip this all over again, like, just in case these use cases didn't resonate with you, or these customer stories didn't resonate for you, like, these are some sort of ideation pivots for you to think about, where can you use RPA as well? Like, if you're using any manual process or paper-based process, just like automate it using like AI builder, like models and stuff. If you're running into issues where you just can't access the system, either because you don't have permissions, or the APIs are there but nobody would give you access to it, then just use RPA to automate your process. If you are dealing with some of these business systems around ERP, CRMs, SAP, Oracle, Dynamics, Workday, take your favorite pick. And if you think you're sort of browsing to these systems and doing a lot of manual tasks, think about automating it using RPA as well. Excel macros, if you're doing a lot of data entry using your line of business apps, or if you're going to third-party portal for vendor where you're extracting a lot of data, or you're doing sort of data entry, then you can easily automate it using RPA. Any chatbot is a natural sort of extension where you can call in from a chatbot to any backend system, which can be automated. If you're doing any system or data integration, let's say that an acquisition is happening and then two systems need to merge together, and you might want to run two systems in parallel, then you can use RPA to either sort of do the data integration, or sort of have them run in parallel and create a system as well. And then lastly, like, you can always use sort of AI and machine learning to automate like your manual day-to-day tasks around processing of data itself. Yeah, so think about RPA use cases from a departmental perspective. These are very common departmental level use cases across IT, finance, HR. We have customers using RPA sort of in a broad range of departments. And then if you look at sort of some signals where if you see yourself doing any of these activities, then think about automating it either using desktop flows or cloud flows, depending on which one is available. But these are some of the use cases that that one can use RPA for.
I like the lack of system access. Like, oh, you don't want to give me API access? No problem. I'll just automate my own actions.
Yeah, like, and like RPA is fairly reliable. Like, all these customers have deployed these RPA solutions in production, and they've been running fine. So it is reliable as well. So the key thing is, like, do not get blocked on like anything basically. Like, if you have an idea, if you want to automate, just go ahead and automate. Like, we have a lot of tools available in Power Automate to let you sort of automate your mundane tasks. And like, if you keep getting blocked by IT, then just get out of it by using RPA as well. So that's the key. Don't get blocked.
I love it. I love it. If you're getting blocked by IT, just use RPA. Yeah. That's the lesson you need to take away today.
I hope I don't get crucified for
it. Awesome. This was good. I like, man, the Coca-Cola example is fun and very tangible, because I don't know a single person who doesn't love those machines. So kind of seeing how that's done and how that company's innovating and their savings was very cool. And I like your jump off list here too. Good stuff, Pranav.
Thank you, John.
All right. So you guys at home, you know what to do. Go ahead and click like and get subscribed so that you don't miss another video. Check the description for any links, and then go ahead and leave us a comment for the next video that you want to see. We'd love your feedback. We're always open to ideas on what to create next. And that's it from us. All right, you guys, much love. We will see you in the next episode. Take care.
Take care.